Game 3 of this year's World Series had to have been one of the most difficult losses to stomach in the history of the playoffs, period. Not just because of how much was required by both teams in terms of bullpen investment and the sheer volume of innings played, but the emotional toll exacted by losing a contest like that on a walk-off homer. Now, to me, this makes what Toronto just did in Game 4 one of the most impressive bounce-back victories you'll ever see, because they not only emerged victorious, but did so in convincing fashion. Shohei Ohtani, the dude who got on base a postseason record 9 times the night before, was on the hill for LA, having at this point not pitched in a game in 11 days, and you could see some pretty obvious rust in the first inning, when after retiring the first 2 guys pretty easily, he walked Bo Bichette despite getting ahead of him 1-2, then went to a 3-2 count to Addison Barger before giving up a weakly hit single. He would manage to bounce back versus Alejandro Kirk, getting a pop-up on the infield, but on a pitch that Kirk probably crushes in most circumstances. He certainly looked better in the second, retiring the Blue Jays 1-2-3 on just 7 pitches. Meanwhile, starter Shane Bieber on the other side followed a quiet opening frame by getting into a little trouble in the second, walking Max Muncy on 4 pitches, the last of which was nowhere close, then giving up a single to Tommy Edman on a fastball right down the middle. This meant that when Kike Hernandez flew a ball 356 feet to right field, Muncy would come in easily to score with the game's first run. Again, with the absolute nightmare that was last night's loss, it was worth wondering how the team would respond to getting down early in the game following. But they made it clear they couldn't care less about this narrative when Vladimir Guerrero Jr. crushed his 7th home run of the postseason in the very next frame, a 2-run shot that immediately gave his squad the lead. This is where both pitchers would clamp down decidedly, with neither giving up more than 1 base runner in a frame afterward going into the 6th, with Ohtani even managing to strike out the side in the 4th when 2 of the 3 guys he faced, in Kirk and Ernie Clement, don't strike out all that often. Bieber, meanwhile, actually got the Japanese superstar to strike out twice at the plate himself. First on a nasty changeup, then on a perfectly placed knuckle curve right around the outside corner. Our first real action since the 3rd would come in the bottom of the 6th, when, following another scoreless frame from Shohei, Bieber got into some hot water, giving up 3 straight line drives to the heart of the LA order, 2 of which managed to find green grass, with only a nice play from Dalton Varsho keeping the bases from being loaded. This would be the end of Shane's night, giving way to lefty Mason Fluharty, a pitcher who had let the previous game get tied by allowing 2 inherited base runners to score. But he would be nails in this one, inducing a flyout from Muncy, then striking out the switch-hitting Edman on 3 pitches. I think to many surprise, Ohtani was back out there to start the top of the 7th, as while he was at 90 pitches, the dude had just played 18 innings the night before. This decision to leave him in would immediately turn sour for Dave Roberts, who watched as Varsho let off with a single before Clement doubled to the left center field gap, putting runners on 2nd and 3rd with nobody out. That signaled the end of the night for Ohtani, giving way to lefty Anthony Banda, who then fought his way through an 8-pitch at-bat to 8-hitter Andres Jimenez before the infielder flipped a breaking ball the other way for an RBI single. Just quintessential Blue Jays baseball, not trying to crush the cover off the ball, just making contact in big spots. Isaiah Kiner-Falefa was due up next, and on a 3-1, lined a ball to third baseman Muncy, who caught it and then, in nearly one motion, fired to first base to nab Jimenez. Huge double play, right? Well, not according to New York, who apparently saw enough on this play to overturn it, putting runners back on the corners with just 1 out. And this proved pretty huge, as pinch hitter Ty France, who came in for George Springer after his injury last night, came through with a simple ground ball to the right side, pushing across Toronto's 4th run of the night. It also crystallized Ohtani's line at 6 innings with 4 earned runs, the most he had allowed in a game since August 20th. However, it was still within a save opportunity for LA. This is when Roberts decided to turn to righty Blake Trinan, who's had just an atrocious season in 2025 overall, and it would continue here, giving up a line drive off the wall in left field, then a ground ball past a sliding Mookie Betts. This allowed 2 more runs to come in to score, and from here it never really felt all that close again. The Dodgers would manage to push across 1 in the 9th on an Edman ground ball, but that was it, seeing Alex Call fly out to left field to seal one of the most impressive bounce-back victories I've ever seen. For the vast majority of this contest, the Blue Jays just looked in control, and with that rally in the 7th, they really pulled away, guaranteeing we will see at least 1 more game in Canada this season.
Alright everybody, if you made it this far, I appreciate you watching, and if you did, consider checking out any of these other videos on your screen right now for other content just like this. Also, if you ever see anything you'd like to see me detail in the video, feel free to reach out to my email, basebpoet@gmail.com, and if I end up using your idea, I'll give you a shout out. Thanks for watching. Have a great rest of your day.